Welcome to the Broken to Build podcast, a refuge for authenticity. Each episode, you'll be reminded that our scars are the foundation of our strengths. You will feel seen, known, and loved as you find beauty in the brokenness while you build the extraordinary life you were created to live. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Broken to Build. And do we have a broken person for you today? This is my friend Suzanne Abdella Staff, and she is here, and I'm so excited. She is going to be sharing her story with us. Parts of it for the first time, parts of it she's never really shared publicly, parts of it some people do know your story, but thanks for joining us, and we are going to get right into it.
Yay.
First of all, thank you for coming on. Can you kind of tell everyone a little bit, just who you are, just a little bit about you?
Okay, sure. Hello, I'm Suzanne. I am married with two girls. They are fabulous. One is Nora, and she is 12, almost 13, an amazing preteen. And then I have an awesome 5-year-old, Stella. And I absolutely love the outdoors. I love paddleboarding, but I also love numbers, which is pretty surprising to a lot of people. I have a Master of Accounting and hope to one day finally sit for my CPA. But for now in life, I am a wonderful stay-at-home mom.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Perfect. Perfect summary. And then you're here, and we met at church.
Yes.
We met at church.
Church, mutual friends.
Yeah. So we've known each other for a long time, probably 13 years.
Yeah.
Ish. Nora was 12 years. Nora was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So would love to just delve into your story and probably hitting the whatever part you want to hit first, but maybe the part that you haven't shared with anyone yet, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll keep it sort of brief. You know, my story is one of grew up in this amazing Christian home, church every day, great parents. I was a Christian. Since I was out of the womb, right?
Yeah.
Age 4.
Yep.
I was a happy kid, believed that everyone was good and, graduate high school. I loved volleyball. So I got a volleyball scholarship to a small community college in Tampa, which was really exciting because I love volleyball and playing and sports. And so I have an August birthday. So I was 17 when I went to college. I was kind of still a baby, and with that being said, I unfortunately trusted some of the wrong people, and I was there, and it was before my 18th birthday. I was unfortunately gang raped, and kind of hard to talk about, but it's such a big part of my story and who I am today that I felt God was like, it's time to share. Only the closest to me really know that, and I have to tell you that really, really shaped who I am and how I got to my faith. I got to figure out for the first time, do I still believe in God? Do I believe that he's good? Is it my faith? Is it my parents' faith? How do I pick up the pieces and go from here? 17, turning 18, and everything just kind of crumbled. I'm like, oh, great. Yay.
Oh my gosh.
Perfect.
So after that happened, you told your family.
Yeah, so it was really crazy because I wasn't 18 yet. I had to make that horrible phone call home to let them know what had happened, and I ended up moving back home just because I was still so young, and it was very traumatizing experience. And so I had to walk away from this new independence that I found, moving away. I lived in Tampa in a dorm with all these volleyball players, which in a short time it became my friends, And I moved back in with my parents and kind of started to pick up the pieces. And they were huge in helping me and telling me it's, you need to go get some therapy and talk through things and kind of figure out how we move forward. And that's what I did. It wasn't easy and it wasn't quick at all, because I had to figure out, what do I do? And so I eventually got back into church and started trusting and believing and realized, my faith is stronger than ever because I'm here. He brought me through it. Yeah. And this is the new me. I will now be bold and proclaim my faith and my presence. And I found this new, I don't know. I just became this different person.
Your voice.
Yeah, my new voice. Like I used to be shy and quiet, and I just was no longer that person anymore.
So I have seen statistics that a lot of women go through rape, sexual trauma, sexual abuse. It's very common. I know I've recently saw a statistic about how 80% of girls will be some sort of sexually abused before they're 18, which is insane. So a lot of the people listening are going to have those experiences. What is something, I know I studied abroad in Spain for a couple months in the summer. And my roommate, who I was very good friends with, that I went with, she ended up getting raped over there. And she didn't tell me. I could tell something was different. I could tell something happened. And there were several times that I was like, hey, what's going on? Like, and she didn't tell me till months and months later. So what would you say for the people that have gone through these things? Because to go back to your story, you did or didn't press charges. Like, what did that look like during that?
Because I was so young and still, almost ashamed, like I should have known better. Why do I trust strangers? Like, just different things like any woman, I think most women do, is we blame ourselves. Looking back, like the Suzanne today, I wish I could have told I do remember everyone that was there. I remember everything that happened. I wish that I was as strong as I am now back then because I was like, I don't remember. I won't press charges. But the only thing I would go back and say is like, be strong, be courageous. God will give you that. Like you should stand up for what you know is right. And, I wish that I had the courage back then to kind of face those accusers. Like that's the one thing that I wish I was just more vocal about, but I was scared.
Right. Right. Which is understandable. And that's what with my friend, same thing. She didn't ever press charges. No. She was scared. So, and that was going to be my next question. What would be the advice that you would give? And it would be to stand And it
was hard. My parents were like, you have to, let's do it. And I was like, no. I was scared. Yeah. But looking back, and I think what I do now is I just more aware of my surroundings. And I have 2 girls. Just making them more aware of their surroundings. Not that, everybody's bad, but just be aware. Yes. Like, not everyone has good intentions. Right. And I just pretty much thought, why would people hurt me? Like, I don't understand. Right. I'm happy and I'm fun. Right.
People are good. People are good. Trustworthy. And
unfortunately, I don't want to go too dark, but it's it's not, the world we live in. There is bad. Right. And just to be more aware.
Yeah, for sure. So as you went through this, you really found your footing in your faith.
Yes. It was my faith, finally.
Yeah. And then tell me about like the new Suzanne after that, after the pieces were kind of put back together. Yeah. You're rebuilding your identity in Christ, rebuilding who you are. So tell me about new Suzanne.
Yeah, so new fun Suzanne, new 19-year-old Suzanne, was, I just got back to being my happy, joyful self, like put myself through college, and I kind of missed out on a year. And so my parents encouraged me to like take as many classes as you want. I was lucky not to have to work at that time. So I would take 6 or 7 classes.
Did you stay local then?
I did. I went to FAU. I stayed local. And I finished my bachelor's in like 3.5 years, which was a big goal for me. I kind of put everything into school and church, and I helped lead Bible studies, and all the while keeping what had happened very private. Like I said, not a lot of people know about this, so this is kind of a big opening for me,
because your story is going to be used to help so many people that may be going through it right now, that may not have the courage, that may feel like they're alone.
I just felt God telling me, now's the time, surprise, at 41, it's time to share your story. So from there, school, moved out, had my own place. It was really amazing. And just back into the church and living life and having fun and surrounding myself with really good friends and good people that always encouraged me. There were still ups and downs. I was still a college student. Don't get me wrong. Not perfect by any means. Still had fun, but, just really found myself like grounded.
Okay, so then fast forward a little bit and you meet Aaron.
Yes.
Okay. Tell everyone who Aaron.
So Aaron was amazing. Yeah. And he was just amazing. Like my Prince Charming. I'm the friend that like, even after everything that happened, always believes in like love and happily ever after. And I was like, oh my gosh, like who is this guy? Like long story short, his dad was a pastor at our church and his family stayed at my parents' vacation home, and there he saw photos of me and he's like, who's that girl? I'm like, she looks interesting. She's cute, you know, and came back and we met at like a church leadership event and we're kind of like, oh, hey you, like, you know, and then from there, this like relationship, romance blossomed and it was amazing. And after I think, gosh, like 3 years of dating, he proposed and we got married in 2009.
Okay. And there was an age, how old were you and how old was he?
So there was a 7-year age difference.
Okay.
So I think I was like 23 when I met him and he had just turned 30.
Okay.
So yeah, no one really expected it to happen, but it was just normal and it felt right and it wasn't like weird or anything like that. Yeah. So, you know, guys mature younger or like later. It takes a little while to catch up, but you know, just kidding.
Just kidding. Not really.
Yeah, not really.
So then you guys got married at 26. You were 26. He was 32.
Yes.
Okay.
Ish. Can't remember all the numbers I get together. Okay. Yeah. So.
And you're happily married.
Yes. Yeah, so we celebrated our 1-year wedding anniversary. We're like, let's try for a baby. Like, we want to like have this because we've been dating for a while. Yeah. And then we got married and, you know, and so we were trying and we couldn't get pregnant. I'm like, this is so weird. And we, before we started going to like, you know, see if there was something going on with me or with him, his mom, sadly was diagnosed with cancer. She was diagnosed with like a bladder kidney cancer. Yeah. And so the doctor said it might be hereditary. So they had everyone in the family checked and he was checked and they found a mass in his kidney. And so that's kind of where the cancer journey began. And we didn't know if maybe that was the reason why or whatever.
Why you couldn't get pregnant.
Why we couldn't get pregnant. Yeah. And so he had surgery. The kidney was removed. They said it was completely contained and go about your life, no chemo, no radiation, like we found it in time, everything's perfect. Okay. So he went a few years cancer-free and he had a scan and a checkup, like his last checkup before he could go like 3 years without any checkups, blood work, and they found a mass in his like chest area. Okay. And they found out that it was the return of the cancer, sadly, and it was a mass that was connected to his aorta and it was inoperable. Okay. And amazingly and sadly, that same month, we found out that I was pregnant. So, with Nora. Yeah, this both happened in like March of 2011. Okay. I want to say. Yeah.
So your world was rocked in like you had the extremes.
Lows. Oh my gosh, like wait, what? And then we're like, okay, maybe it's just that. We're not sure. Like, you know, and but oh my gosh, we're pregnant. What does this mean? Is God saying that everything's going to be okay? Right. We have this like a miracle like baby and hoping everything's fine. And so I was really sick during my pregnancy. Like I had that crazy thing where you like throw up 24/7. I'm like, of course, why not? Yeah. You know what I mean? And so because the good news is of knowing I was pregnant and knowing that he had cancer, he had a lot of like screening and scans where a newly pregnant person shouldn't be around that. So it was kind of good news, bad news, you know. So he had a PET scan to further identify if the cancer was like anywhere else. And fortunately, it was like everywhere. It was in his bones. So it was in like his back, his hip bone, his like everywhere bone, like, you know, but even with that said, stayed positive, like, that's okay, we've got this,
we're gonna
push through, like,
God's gonna give us our miracle.
God's gonna give us our miracle, we've got this, and, you know, so humming along, we found a doctor down in Miami at the Sylvester Cancer Center, which was like, it was like Miami or Duke, those are the two that specialize in his type of kidney cancer. Okay. And so we got him into the doctor, but sadly, like 2 months later, he had a tumor break through the vertebrae in the back of his neck. And so he had to go to like immediate surgery and then to replace that area. And then it was from there, like, it wasn't your traditional type of chemo. It was like a pill version. There was a lot of experimental trials because this wasn't a curable cancer. Yeah. And it was also inoperable. So our hope the whole time was, you know, if we can just keep it as it is, like, don't let them grow, like the bones will be fine. So he was on bone shots and radiation, and he was like strapped down to a thing and pinpoint like cyberknife radiation all the while. Like he's sick, I'm sick,
right,
throwing up, and you're throwing up. Like,
Yeah.
it was just kind of like a mess, you know what I mean? But throughout it all, like, we really, and we'll go into all the details, like, it was a lot, you know, a lot of just trips back and forth into Miami, and he fought, like, the best he could and the best, like, we both knew how. And so, yeah, it was crazy.
Tell me, so during this time, you didn't find out what you were having with the baby?
So yes, this is like the super fun part. So we waited to find out.
Yeah.
And we just thought it would be something that would help him fight and, you know, keep like going. And we thought the whole time it's a boy. Oh my gosh, he's going to look just like him. It's going to be this amazing boy. And so the whole time I really feel like he fought like to see her, and we prayed. We went to like healing services.
Yeah.
I never once thought that like he was not going to make it through. My faith, I feel like our faith was so big.
Yeah.
I never allowed myself to go to those like moments of what if, you know?
Which is amazing in itself, because the way that my mind works, I would be preparing, and I got to be prepared, and
I know.
like
it's like only God. Only God.
It's staying in that place of like, no, that's not happening right now. We're going to live in that hope that God's going to miraculously cure him,
like
and
Satan will not win. This will not be the end of this story. Like we will be a family all together, the three of us. Like, you know, so I believe we kept that attitude throughout the entirety of it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Nora was born in December of 2011, our little December baby. And it was a girl. Yeah. And it was really cool because he got to come out, and we had these shirts made. It's a boy or it's a girl. And he came out and had like this sweater, and he like got to unzip the sweater, and it was like, it's a girl. And like everyone's screaming and so happy. And we ended up, something really cool is his name, it was Aaron. Yeah. It was Aaron. So we named our daughter Nora with 2 A's. So it's his name backwards.
I love that.
So she's Noraa, which is so cool. I love that. Because everyone's like, what is that name? I don't understand. And so what's really awesome is that was his idea. I'm not that creative. I am the numbers, like not creative person. And so it's so beautiful now just to look back at like those details, because now it's something cool that she gets to share. Like it's her story of why I have 2 A's. Like I'm jumping ahead, but you know, it's a really beautiful thing. I'm so thankful that we ended up doing that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, okay, she was born in December.
And I remember you sharing at the beginning of our friendship when you were kind of telling me your story. That was the first time it had ever crossed your mind that what if this doesn't go the way that we're thinking that it would?
Well, it was hard. Like, there's a lot that I'm, like, skipping over. But even when I was in the hospital, like, having her, like, he was so sick. Like, the nurses were drawing him a bath, and they were like, and, you know, the selfish me was like, hi, what about me? Right. I'm having a baby. Like, can it just be about me one time? Like, but he was fighting for his life and his family, and he was so sick. And, like, and I feel like her birth was just, like, okay, like, because after that, it was kind of like a little, I feel like God blessed us in a way by allowing him to be there for that. Yes. You know what I mean? Yeah. And giving him that hope. Yeah. But, like, after that, it just kind of became, like, I don't want to say inevitable, but we knew from the beginning it was incurable. Yeah, yeah. And he was just getting sicker and weaker. Yeah. And he had celebrated his 36th birthday in April 10th, and we were married in March, so we just had our 3-year wedding anniversary too, all wrapped up. And then he got pretty sick, like more sick, like the cancer was spreading. It spread to like his lungs, like in a liquid form, and it just kind of, we went to hospital then it was like, you can do another procedure and you can do this. And he looked at me and he was just like, I'm done. Like, I can't do it. Yeah. And so then we had to look over, you know, quality of life over quantity. Right. And so here we are. We have this she was 5 months old then, 4.5 months old baby, and we got moved to hospice. So that was probably like the most out of body experience, because I was only 28. Like, I was a baby myself, you know, and going through all of these emotions and these ups and downs. And I'm like, but wait a second, God, like, we prayed. I woke up sick, threw up from being pregnant. And then I sat in stillness and I prayed and I prayed. I'm like, God, please, like, heal him completely. Yeah. Make us, you tell us in your word that you will give us the desires of our heart. Right. The desire of my heart is to be a complete family. Like, I don't want to be a single mom. Right. this isn't what I signed up for. You know what I mean? So,
I went through my big traumatic thing when I was 17.
Well, wait a second. Why am I going through something else big? Aren't I done? Like, isn't this over? Like, this is not how it's supposed to be. I'm a Christian. I'm a good person. Like, I don't understand, you know? And so those moments were hard. And then we came to hospice, and it was kind of like a blur, but at the same time, just like pushing through and making him as comfortable as he could be. And, you know, just spending those moments with him. And it's really crazy because a lot of his story was he became a Christian later in life too, and he wasn't as vocal about his faith. But what's interesting is when he got sick is when he became like vocal about his faith. And we have a really close friend, and it's like there's so many pieces to our story. I could literally go on for like 100 hours, but I'm trying to just give like the pieces. Feel free. And we have this really close friend, and he is married to one of my best friends.
Okay.
And he never really felt that like reason to like proclaim his faith, or like he always believed in God, but I was like, oh, I believe in God, like whatever. But he was looking for that, like that peace, that something to make him want to believe more and want to like profess his faith. And he came to hospice one day, and Aaron had like kind of almost lost consciousness already. Okay. And he was like, you're like my peace. Like you're like, I cry every time I tell the story. Like, he's like, you're the reason that, like, I want to be a Christian, and I want to raise my family the way that, like, you were raising yours, and, like, just the sweetest, and they're the best couple. Like, their family is amazing. And I was going back through some of my old notes, and it was like Aaron fulfilled his purpose just by touching just one life. I know he touched many, but, like, that one life is amazing. And their family is so beautiful. And forever they're thankful. They are always checking on me. Like it's just the sweetest, like most beautiful thing. And I remember sitting there like the day before he passed away. He was in hospice for maybe a week. And I was just like, God, you know, at the end of the day, we used to pray, him and I as a family, like we want to be in the center of your will. We want to like do what's best for you and our life. And it's so crazy because after all those prayers, like these things started happening. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, is this your will? Like, really? Like, for me to be widowed at 28 and him to have to go through this horrible disease and leave like a baby and his family as a sister, and she was pregnant, and, you know, all of these things. And it's crazy. It just keeps reminding me that, like, we're here for one reason, you know, and one reason only. And that's to become more like Jesus, which unfortunately we have to go through all the trials.
It doesn't always
and
feel
the sufferings,
good.
And it doesn't feel good. But I have to say, during that time, as a family, we were never as close to God as we were in those moments. Like, when you couldn't talk, it was praise and worship. Like, that's it. That's all we could do. Do you know what I mean? And it just, I don't know. It was weird. As soon as he, like, passed away, took, like, his last breath, the only thing that came to me was, it is well with my soul. I don't know why. I still don't understand how anyone survived that, like, like, a little over a year that he was sick. But, like, only God like could have equipped him for that, me for that, our families for that. And so it was a journey.
Wow. Oh my gosh, girl. So after he passes, you have this little 5-month-old.
Now we have a baby. Yay.
And
now what?
What do you do?
Well, I'm very thankful for family. My family was huge and really stepped up. I was like, I can't go back to our house. There was too many memories when we had left. We didn't know we weren't coming back, and so I wasn't prepared to go back. So that took a while, and I moved in with my parents for a while, and they helped me with Nora, and just kind of, there's a lot of funny things in between. Nora was a baby, so she got hand, foot, and mouth. Oh my gosh. It was horrible. Like literally like a month after Aaron had passed away. And then I got hand, foot, and mouth. Of course. But horrifically. Everyone's like, adults don't get it. I'm like, oh no, they do. My hands, sometimes. My feet, my face were all covered with red spots. I lost my fingernails, my toenails. I literally was like, okay, God, this is really funny. You've completely forgotten about me. Am I like literally worse than like the dust under your feet? Like, I'm so confused. So there are fun. I can look back and they're funny, but at the time I was like, funny. Are you for real? Like I don't understand.
Do you want to add anything else?
Anything else?
Lord?
Like, go ahead. Like, sure. And so, you know, it took a while to pick up those pieces. I am so thankful that I was left with Nora. I'm so thankful that she was a girl. Like, she just was my drive to want to heal. You know, healing was definitely a choice. I could have chosen to stay bitter and angry, which at first I was like, Satan won't win. I'm going to proclaim like Jesus' name, and no matter what happens, like God's all that matters.
Yeah.
And, but then that kind of was like, I'm like, actually, no, you know what? I'm not happy. Like, right. I prayed. I did all the things. I believed in miracles. You still do miracles today. Like, why don't you give my family a miracle? You go to church and you hear cancer was gone. It was left their body. And you're like, well, wait a second. Why not for my family?
Yeah.
And then I got into this cycle of maybe my faith was too big. Maybe if I didn't believe so much that he would be healed, like God would think like, I don't know, like
reverse psychology
with God. Like, wait, my faith was too big. Maybe if I was like, I can't do it, I won't survive. Like, I don't know. Like, I just went through
maybe
this,
if God would have understood that. Maybe if I would have told him that.
Maybe I wouldn't, like, I don't know, you know. And then I started getting like a little, I don't know, I kind of was getting not dark, but just like, because I'm not a very depressed oriented, I don't feel like I get depressed often, but I was getting angry. And so when I started getting angry, I took a grief share class, and that really allowed me to go through all of those emotions, you know what I mean, and help sort of pick up those pieces of like happy, sad, angry, mad, like, you know, like this isn't fair. Life is not fair. Like I'm tired. When I used to go through things, my mom's like, it's building character. I'm like, God, enough. I'm up to here with my character building.
My character is
We're done.
Good.
It's good.
It's good.
Like, yeah.
Did you meet people at Grief Share that were farther along in the journey, or did you feel validated in all the feelings that you were processing?
So what's so cool about God is like, even when we're like, I hate you, I don't like you right now, like, why did you do this to me?
Yeah.
I was in Grief Share, and there was a new widow in there. I think I was maybe 6 or 7 months into my journey, and she was pretty new.
Okay.
And it's so crazy. Only God.
Yeah.
She came up to me after class, and she was like, I know you. And I was like, oh, I don't know you, but I'd love to get to know you. Like, I'm so sorry for your loss. She just lost her husband, and she too had a baby girl.
Okay.
And she said, I was in hospice when you were there with your husband and your baby because my grandfather was passing away. And she's like, your family like just spoke volumes to us, and we just wanted to know how you guys still had joy in all of like the sadness.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so she was searching and found the church that I was at and the grief share class, and she didn't know I was there at all.
Was she expecting to lose her husband at that point?
No,
or hers was sudden?
It was unexpected.
And
it was like a heart problem. Yeah. And he passed away, I think, during like surgery. It was completely he wasn't sick, nothing like that.
So God was almost preparing her, even though she didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just crazy. There's so many God moments in the entire story. It would like fill up this room. Like, it's unbelievable that even through all of that pain and anger and fear, like, he was there. Like, his peace was there.
Yeah.
Always. Like I said, it is well with my soul. Like, who says that?
Right.
Like, I don't understand.
Right.
Like,
I don't say that often.
I don't say that. Like,
Right.
I don't go around singing that song or saying that. And it's just even looking back, I tell everyone today, like, how did you go through that? And I'm just like, it was God. Like, I can't even explain. Like, it was just his peace that like everything's going to be okay. Yeah. And at the end of the day, all I need is him. Yeah. That's it.
So how do you reconcile, like, now that you're removed from it, you've got a wonderful husband, you've got a new little baby, well, she's not a new little baby girl, but she's newer than Nora. So how do you reconcile that you, with prayer and God and all the things that you didn't get, your miracle, that you didn't get the things you were praying for, like, where are you at with all of that now?
So, it was really hard. Like, I took a while. I feel like for like almost 2 years, I became a hermit. Yeah. And I was like in the Word, studying, doing this, like trying everything I could to try to understand. And I just, like I said, I realized like some things we'll never know until we get to heaven. Yeah. Yep. And I had something worth fighting for. I had a beautiful baby girl, and I had my relationship with God. Yeah. And at the end of the day, through all of it, he just said, I am enough. I am enough. And so I learned just to pick up those pieces. And at first I was wishing like death upon everyone. I'm like, Jesus is coming tomorrow. We're all going to be in heaven. Everything's going to be fine.
Redeemed, fully
and then
redeemed.
I realized, okay, no, like my purpose is still here on earth for whatever that reason is. And whatever God's calling me to do, I feel like that's to share our story, my story, for Nora to share her story of what that was like. And through a lot of work, internal work, and just trying to get back to that relationship with God. You know, I want to say I'm still working on that because it's almost like I heard it in church. The pastor was like, it's like having a best friend and like getting in a bad fight with them. And in order to repair that brokenness, you know, you have to kind of just start from scratch, and you got to like talk to them and tell them they hurt you. And so I'm still honestly working on that. I'm working on rebuilding and piecing back together my prayer life, because for so long I prayed so much, and I know that was for me and for my heart, and that helped me, but I don't know, it's really hard. Like, it's still really hard for me to, I don't know, believe in miracles. You know? But then I look at my beautiful baby and I look at this redemptive love story I found, and I'm like, what are you doing? It's right in front of you. Like, I met a great man. He's taken on Nora as his own. Like, amazing. We just celebrated 6 years of marriage, which is insane. I can't believe it. We have an amazing daughter, Stella. She is a firecracker.
She is.
She is super fun. And it's just crazy that sometimes I forget just to sit back and look at everything that like he's blessed me with.
That's so
even
good.
So like even what we've been through, you know, and I feel like rebuilding all of those pieces to where I was before, it takes time, you know, but I'm thankful for everything I've been through. You know, the relationship too that I have with Aaron's parents, and even my husband now has with them, is so beautiful. It's just, you know,
that's awesome.
Only God. Like, and only when we let go enough to let him come in and take away. I was very fearful for a long time. Like, a few years after, I was afraid something would happen to Nora. I was afraid, like, anything. There was fear that just completely, like, would paralyze me sometimes, you know? But he slowly is teaching me that, like, I don't have to be afraid. I have him. At the end of the day, it's him. That's it. Like, he's my missing piece. That one thing that I need is him.
And those broken pieces, even the things that come in life that we are not expecting, he will, in his time, put back together. And it might look differently, and it might not feel good. But he is kind and he is good. And so I love that about your story, and that you allowed that, because some people don't allow it. Some people sit in the bitterness and they say, nope. I was just listening to a story today about a man who's told God he hated him because he took away his dad when he was little. So we have to allow him to come into those spaces that don't feel good, and that we would have rather not gone through.
No thanks.
Pass,
please. Like, I know I used to say, oh, whatever. Like, I'm doing great things through the kingdom. Okay, who cares? Like, I don't have to have the biggest mansion in heaven. Like, it's totally fine. Like,
as long as I get in there, slide in like, on this side. I'll have a little shack. It's fine.
Just trying to find joy in like the tragedy, and finding like all the, like, almost like the nuggets that he gives you, like those little things to hold on to. Like, he is so loving and so beautiful, and he can turn like any tragedy into just like joy and hope and love. And I can't even tell you how amazing Nora is too. Like, she is like on fire for God, and she could be mad and angry, and instead she's like, I'm so lucky. I have two dads. I have like Daddy Aaron in heaven, and I have Daddy Phil on earth, and I'm lucky. Like, oh my God,
that's
you're so amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Amazing. Really cool.
So when we met, you were writing a book. And then you put it aside, as most people do.
Get married, have another child, like fulfill my career, like I thought.
And, tell me about that. Is that something that you want to eventually pick back up?
Yes, I do. I feel like that is definitely a calling he put on my life, because I am not a writer. Like I said, I am numbers girl. I am not into writing, but I did write a blog while he was sick, and even like a year after, and I really feel like it was helping a lot of people. I don't even know where the words came from. I do. It was God, like just through me. And he still is like, hi, remember me? I told you that this is something that I would like you to do. And so I feel like running into you again, and like just a lot of things that I need to learn to be more obedient in, you know, what he's calling me to do. So hopefully that gets picked back up and, you know, things start flowing again.
I love God's grace he knows that we will take time to get around to the things that he's asking us to do.
When I get to it.
But the blog was amazing, and that's how I knew you before I met you. So I know they sent out the blog as far as for us to be praying. And so I was praying for you before I even met you. And I remember I was sitting in my computer and I was crying and I was praying for you guys. And then we met later and I was like, oh, you're the girl that I was praying for. And so, so your story touched me even then. And you had people praying for you that you didn't even know.
No.
And so I love that God does that. And so the blog is still up, correct?
It is.
Even if it's not super active?
It's still up. I haven't posted since like 2016-ish,
But there is a lot of the story. What is that website for people?
So it is runningwithpeace.com.
Okay.
I think /blog. I don't have to pull it back up because I had a front page and that's no longer there. So you have to go with certain
blog.runningwithpeace.com.
Yes.
Okay.
blog.runningwithpeace.com.
Okay.
Yes. And it's got a lot of our story from the beginning through when he was sick, through after, and all of that. Yeah. All of that in between.
Yeah. So I have one final question for you. You've shared a lot today about the gang rape that you experienced, the death of your husband, the birth of your daughter, the remarriage. I mean, all of it. There are people out there that are listening that have been through rape. They've been through the loss of a spouse. It might be someone that's sick, that they're dealing with that, all of the things. So what are some of the lessons coming out of the other side? Like, what are some of the lessons that you've learned or advice that you would have for those people?
Yeah, I feel like God really can equip anyone, like in any situation. We just have to let go of our fears, our doubts, all of those feelings that we have, and just fully look to him to meet our needs. It's so hard to explain, but what I learned through going through all of those things, kind of towards the end, as I got a little bit more mature in our situation and what was going on, was I really found a lot of peace in just being still. And that's very hard for me because I'm bubbly and I'm bouncy. And I realized the moments that I was just still and listened to him, he gave me this peace that, again, transcends all understanding. I mean, I never understood that until these moments where I felt so broken and so helpless. I could cry just thinking about it. It's just, he equipped me to go through those hard moments because I let go. I was I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. I'm just a kid. I need your help. And he did. He gave me joy through the sorrow. He gave me hope again when I held on to him. He really was there for me. It's just the peace that I can't even explain. I tell everyone I could never have gone through what I went through without him by my side. Yeah. At all.
That verse keeps coming to me, be still and know that I am God.
Yeah.
And I love that verse because it's not be still and you might see that I am God. You will know. You will know that I am God.
Yeah. And also anyone out there listening, like you said, who maybe prayed for that miracle and that miracle never came. Yeah. I love this quote by Nick Vujicic. And I'm sorry if I messed up his name.
Sorry, Nick.
It's really hard. Sorry, Nick. I love you. But I love this quote because it just helps sum up the story. And I'm still learning and I'm still on a journey, but this does bring me a lot of hope. And it says, when God doesn't give you that miracle you want, you need to become a miracle for others. When you serve someone else, your heart gets healed as well. And that is so a lifetime quote for me. Never got the miracle that I was hoping for, but there are still miracles in that. And by helping others through a similar journey, or if I can help in any way just to give someone hope that it's going to be okay, there will be beauty in this tragedy, then that's worth it.
Yes. And sharing your story could be someone else's miracle. That could be she got through this, so I will get through this, know.
And that you're not alone. Everyone just wants to know that someone understands.
Right.
And that someone's been through it and they get it. And you don't have to do this by yourself.
Yeah. So good. Thank you for being here. This has been so awesome to just hear your story. And I just love you.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for being here. I've really loved our time with you. I think that your story is going to encourage so many people. And that you are going to be that miracle for so many people out there. So I just love you and I appreciate you sharing.
Thank you, friend. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today at the Broken to Build podcast. I hope this episode touches you, encourages you, and speaks to you wherever you're at. And join us next time.